Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lifting the Veil. We've got a new episode today. We're actually starting a new series called CONstellations, and that is based off the book that I wrote, Constellations, Biblical Cosmology, and Why It Matters. I'm doing this series in celebration of my video on the firmament hitting 100,000 views. There seems to be some excitement there, some curiosity, so I wanted to dive deeper into the topic of biblical cosmology and go far beyond just the firmament. We're going to take a look at what the Bible has to say about this place that we live. We're going to see what science has to say about it. And then we're going to look at the biblical evidence, the scientific evidence, and the historical evidence, and see whether or not scripture and science agree together regarding the earth. I believe we'll discover that it is a completely different view when we look at it through the lens of scripture. So I'm excited for this one. Let's go ahead and get started with episode 1 of Constellations, and we're going to talk about what does science actually say concerning creation. Let's get started. So real quick, before we get started with looking at a lot of scientific data with what they tell us concerning creation, I want to give you a little background about me. I expect that this series will cause several knee-jerk reactions with a lot of people, and I just want to let you know that you're not alone. This was very difficult for me to accept as I began to study this out. I was that kid that would play with his Star Trek toys far past when I was supposed to be asleep. I loved Star Wars, and that was really a fascination for me. I began to fixate on space and the possibilities of space travel as a young child. I remember riding down the road with my walkie-talkie pointed out the back window of my parents' car, trying to intercept an alien transmission so I could be the first person to discover alien life. So it was not easy for me to say all of that is not accurate and just adopt this worldview. It actually started with me attempting to research and disprove the theory that Earth wasn't a globe. I thought those flat Earth people were just crazy. So years ago, I set out to study that and debunk every argument, and what happened was actually the opposite. You know, it's funny how the truth has a way of doing that. Even if you don't know what you're looking for, if you are searching for truth, many times it will reveal itself. And when it revealed itself, I had to say, okay, God, this is what your word says about creation, so this is how it is. And I haven't looked back since. I've just researched and dug deeper. I've written the book, Constellations, concerning this topic. I'll have it linked below for you to check out, should you desire to do so. But that's a little bit about me. I loved space. I wanted to be on the Enterprise from Star Trek. I wanted to be exploring space when I grew up. And come to find out, it's not exactly the way that television shows and the movies make it look. So what is it like? Well, in order to discover that, let's take a look at what science says to get us started. Science would have us to believe that everything we see around us came from nothing. Yeah, that's right. Nothing created more nothing, which turned into more nothing, which eventually became something without the help of anything. And then now we see everything around us came into being from that nothing. Now, that is as crazy as saying that this video made itself from nothing. These images of me talking just materialized from nothing, put themselves into a sequential order that made sense without any outside help, added the audio, added the effects, cut it all together with title slides, and then uploaded itself to YouTube, where you're watching this, all from nothing without the help of anything. If I asked you to believe that, you would tell me I was crazy. But yet, we're asked to believe that all of creation came into existence from nothing. And many people do believe that just because they're told that from people in a position of authority. Now, if you ask me, that's crazy. So what is it exactly that came into being from nothing? Let's take a look. Let's start with Earth and our immediate environment and our immediate galaxy that they say exists in the cosmos of space. We're told that Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour while orbiting the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, while blasting through space at a blistering 448,000 miles per hour, all while that space is continually expanding at a mind-numbing 1,367,016 miles per hour. We're told that stars die, new stars form, that new planets form. We're told that black holes exist, that there is dark matter that holds everything together. So, what exactly is dark matter? Well, no one knows. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen to a couple of the top minds in science tell us what dark matter is.
Several decades ago, we found a problem so great that it was brushed under the carpet for many a decade. And this is the fact that galaxies spin too fast. In fact, 10 times too fast. By rights, the galaxy should fly apart. Therefore, scientists said that we have to have dark matter, a halo of matter that surrounds the galaxy and holds the galaxy together.
We've known about dark matter since the 1930s. Back then it was called missing mass. That's what it was called. Because, there's got to be some mass. Where is it? We can't find it. It's got to be here somewhere because we got the gravity. If you have the gravity, you got to have the mass. Mass and gravity go together. It's really dark gravity. Actually, we shouldn't call it anything. We should call it Fred. Something that has no meaning because we don't know what it is. Dark matter, dark energy. Everything we know about the universe, what we're made of, galaxies, stars, planets, that's all right here. So, according to this chart, we are 96% stupid.
Well, if the 4% that we know about the universe is what you guys tell us about the universe, then I would say according to that chart, you're 100% stupid. They've got us moving in 4 different speeds, 4 different directions, yet we never feel anything. They're explaining dark matter. The Michio Kaku, the guy at the beginning, he was talking about how we found a problem with our model. Basically, is what he's saying. This model that we have created, well, we ran into a problem with it. According to us, it's spinning too fast and it would fly apart. So scientists came up with dark matter. Translation, scientists invented a solution for the problem and called it dark matter. That way we could explain away to the public how we're able to spin so fast. And then you've got Neil deGrasse Tyson that comes along to explain dark matter. He does a phenomenal job. I can understand why he is a top-rated astrophysicist. He says, we don't know what it is, but it has to exist. It's got to be here somewhere. Look, let me look on my desk. Oh, well, we probably shouldn't call it dark matter. We should call it Fred, because that screams scientific. Something with no meaning because we don't know what it is. And then he says that concerning our universe, we're 96% stupid because we don't know anything about it. But we want you to believe we do. We put it in the textbooks. We teach you from grade school up exactly what the universe is, exactly how it functions, and exactly what we want you to believe concerning the universe. But now I'm going to get on national television and tell you we don't know anything about it. Makes a lot of sense, right? let's continue. Okay, let's take a look at the model that they provide for us concerning our universe. They call it the heliocentric model. So let's break that word down. The root word helios, in Greek mythology, Helios is the god who personified the sun. And then we take the word centric, meaning in or at the center. So heliocentric translates to Helios, the sun god, at the center. They've taken this pagan god, put him at the center of all creation, and built a model around it. Now, in future episodes, we will explore that deeper and what all the occult ties are to that nonsense. But for now, let's just stick with the scientific facts that they give us. So what exactly does the heliocentric model consist of? Well, they tell us that it's got 8 planets, including Earth, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Now, all of those planet names, aside from Earth, are named after Roman gods. So again, we have a mixture of paganism, pagan gods mixed in with this heliocentered universe. And again, we will explore that more in depth in future episodes. I don't want to get stuck on it just yet. But we consist of 8 planets. And this is what they tell us that it, is a rough representation of what the universe looks like. You can see here we've got the sun at the center, and the planets are in different orbits around the sun. But the question is this description, is this depiction, this artist rendering of our universe, is it what Scripture tells us concerning creation? Well, let's keep going a little further to find out. They tell us that the sun is 330 times larger than the earth, and that it's 92,307,000 miles away from the earth. Now, real quick, let's take a step back and look at these numbers that they're providing us. They get considerably larger as we go along. We started off with 1,000 miles per hour is the speed the Earth's spinning at. It's orbiting the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. Now that sun that it's orbiting is 330 times larger than the Earth. Now the entire universe is blasting through space at 448,000 miles per hour, while that space expands at 1,367,016 miles per hour. And the sun that's doing all this blasting is 92,307,000 miles away from the Earth. Now, if you are like me, all those numbers just gave you a headache, because it's just a bunch of gibberish to the average person, and this is done intentionally. The way the human mind handles large numbers when thrown at it quickly, it just shuts down. So many people, when they hear all of this, it's so much for them to process, they can't do it, so they just accept it. Oh, well, the guys that come up with all this, they have to be smarter than me, because I can't even imagine what those numbers would represent in reality. So I'm just going to take them at their word, because I've got to know what they're doing to come up with all these numbers, right? Well, we can look back at the footage. They don't have a clue what they're doing. They are making it up as they go, and they tell on themselves with slips of the tongue, like in the previous clips. So our universe, the heliocentric model, exists within a galaxy called the Milky Way galaxy. And they tell us that the Milky Way exists as a speck in an endless sea of other specks.
I don't exactly know how to tell you this, but
you're living on a speck.
I knew there was life on this speck.
So what I want you to do, I want you to take everything that I have told you about this scientific model, and for the sake of this series, for the duration of this series, I want you to throw it out. Put it in the trash where it belongs. because it's incorrect. Now what you're feeling right now at that statement, throw it out. You're feeling cognitive dissonance. It's a knee-jerk reaction. You guys are probably, some of you are probably angry that I said take all of this scientific information that we've been taught all of our lives and throw it out. Who am I to tell you to do that? What do I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physicist. I'm not in this field. Why should you listen to me? Keep listening. Cognitive dissonance is natural, and it is the discomfort that a person feels when faced with opposing ideas that do not align with their values or beliefs. It's the dissonance between two contradictory ideas that creates discomfort. It's natural to feel discomfort when looking at this large of a claim. But if you will stick around to the end of this series, I believe that you will discover there may be something to this. And a lot of people ask me, why would you even waste time on this? Why would you dig through scripture and dig through historical record in order to write the book that you wrote and now do this series that you're doing? Why would you waste time on that? And I would say it's not a waste of time at all. Scripture tells us in Proverbs 25:2, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. Well, it is my honor to search out the truth of God's creation within his scriptures. So that's exactly what this series is designed to do. Today we've taken a look, a high-level overview of what the scientific community describes our creation as, how it came into being, what it is, what it's doing, and ultimately the meaningless of it all. We're just a speck in a sea of other specks. So even if there was a God, he wouldn't care enough about us because we're nothing in his vast creation. That's how they want you to feel. They want you to feel small and insignificant. But as we go along the series, I believe we're going to discover that we're much closer to God than we're taught, and we're much more important to him than we could ever imagine. All right, well, that's episode 1 of Constellations. Now, I kept this one short because it is the scientific information regarding our creation. I didn't want to go super in depth with it because we're going to spend the rest of this series dismantling what they claim. With the very next episode, we're going to take a look at the firmament and maybe another aspect of God's creation. We're going to go to scripture and we're going to dig deep and see what God has to say about what he made. So make sure that if you're not already subscribed to this channel, click that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes as they're released, and turn on the notification bell so you can be alerted when that episode comes out. Guys, if you want to help me out, you can hit the thumbs up on this video to help more people see this series. I also want to thank my Patreon supporters because I could not do what I do without your support. I appreciate each and every one of you for that continued support. And I also want to thank those of you that have not come on board yet. If you appreciate this ministry and the content I produce and you want to support me on a monthly basis, Patreon is a great way to do that. I've got a link to that in the description of the video below, as well as a link or the handle of my PayPal and my Venmo account if you prefer to just do a direct contribution. Guys, I appreciate any support that you give me. All of the funds that come in through those channels are put right back in to lifting the veil, to where I can increase my production quality. I can increase the frequency of the videos as they get released. Another great way to support me is through channel memberships. I always forget to mention that, but I have the channel membership option turned on here on YouTube. So I think it's $2.99 a month. You get some perks. You get an icon by your name to indicate that you are a member. You get access to exclusive emojis during the live chats. So if you want to become a member, you can just click that button somewhere down here that says join. And that'll get you set up with that. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I have the merchandise store somewhere again below this video. I'll put a link in the description where you can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, stickers, duffel bags, canvas bags, and other odds and ends. And that also goes to support the channel. So one more time, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. And as always, I'll see you next time.